Hi friends, let me talk about postcolonial literary theory using certain examples. For example, in the previous video we have been discussing the early days of postcolonial theory, how it has emerged as a theory based on the writings of Edward W. Said, prominently Orientalism, and Frantz Fanon's works. So, if we imagine or if we think how a postcolonial reading can be conducted, one example which Peter Barry discusses in the beginning theory is the example of W.B. Yeats. You know that he is a poet famous for his Byzantium poems, Sailing to Byzantium and Byzantium, in which he talks about Istanbul, the eastern capital of Byzantium Empire. So if you look at this poem, we will be able to see that he is presenting these locations, the geographical areas of Istanbul, from a colonialist mindset, because he is giving a color of exotic other. So normally in the colonizers' rendering of Eastern or African countries, there will be this particularity in which they will be presenting these Eastern countries as the exotic, barbaric or mysterious. These are the ways in which they will narrate. So in his poems as well, you can find the same thing. He is presenting it from the point of view of a colonizer. So the first characteristic of postcolonial writing or thinking is this awareness about the representation of the East as the other in the colonizers' language, colonizers' rendering. But if you again look at the particular features of or about the background of W.B.'s in general, you will be able to see that his position is an ambivalent one, because he is at the same time a colonizer, a representative of a colonizer, and at the same time he is a colonized, because he belonged to the Ireland. And Irish people, they have been fighting against the British colonialism and their movement for independence, Irish independence movements and Irish Renaissance. So when he talks about in that point of view, he is colonized, but when he narrates or writes poetry like this, he has that kind of a double identity. So that is one another issue within postcolonial criticism. And again, if you look at some of the central issues within postcolonial criticism, you will be able to see that language is an important one. If I am giving you a very simple example, you may have read the novel Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. You will be seeing that in while reading the novel, you see that the central character, the hero, Robinson Crusoe, after a shipwreck, he landed in a lonely island, uninhabited island. So he is trying to cope up with the situation and trying to survive there. So after a few years or something, he was able to see a tribal community coming to that island in order to conduct a sacrifice or something, and he saves a person, and that man became his companion. Since that person came to his life on a Friday, he names that person Friday. What he does next is to teach Friday his language, his culture, his religion. So if you look at the modus operandi of colonialism, the way colonialism worked all over the world, you will see that this is the same way they have been doing it. For example, they came to India. They will give names to the places in India. They will implement or impose their language upon the colonized subject. They will force, for example, whether it is English East India Company or French company or French colonizers or the Spanish colonizers, they were imposing their culture. No, if you look at imposing the language, you know that language itself is a promoter of carrier of culture. So this is one specific nature in which they work. They impose their language, they impose their culture, they impose their religion, and this is the way colonization worked. So language itself is a very crucial concern within postcolonial criticism. If you look at some of the stands taken by postcolonial thinkers and writers like Ngugi wa Thiong'o, he stopped altogether writing in English. Or Arundhati Roy, God of Small Things, you can see is a kind of a postcolonial strategy of writing back. So empire writes back. This is one important text within postcolonial criticism. So language in the text, for example, in Peter Barry gives the example of the novel The Portrait of an Artist as a Young Boy by James Joyce, and James Joyce himself is an Irish writer, and in the novel he is talking about the imposition of English language and the concerns with the language in the novel. So this language is an important issue of concern within postcolonial criticism. And again, if we come back to W.B. Yeats, the identity in postcolonial criticism in general, issue of identity is also a crucial issue, because there is this realization that identity is not stable, identity is hybrid, because as a person I belong to for example a colonized country or once colonized country. I will have an influence of both the colonized culture, the English language, and also the influence of my own culture. So as an individual, my identity is made up of two or more competing cultures or different cultures. So some characteristics within postcolonialism is that, or understanding within postcolonial countries is that our own identity is not stable, or it's not a homogeneous identity, but it's a hybrid identity. So this kind of a realization is there within postcolonial criticism, which is an important category or concern and characteristic feature of postcolonial criticism. So we can summarize like that: one important characteristic of postcolonial criticism is the realization that the representation of colonized country as the exotic other among the European writers, and the second characteristic is the awareness about the language, how language functions, and also thirdly, identity is an issue within postcolonial criticism. So we will be again seeing some of the for example, again you can explore about the issues of identity, hybrid identity, by reading Homi Bhabha. He is the propounder of the hybrid nature of identity. Okay, so we'll be seeing some of those ideas within postcolonial criticism in the coming lessons as well. Thank you.